Well, welcome to Old Classic Car, and in this video we're looking at fiberglass bodied cars, and we begin with 178 UYN. This particular car at the NEC Classic Car Show is a 1954 Chevrolet Corvette, probably the most famous of all the fiberglass cars in the USA. Next up we've got a Reliant Ant, three-wheeler little pickup truck from the 1980s, fiberglass bodied of course. Reliant's one of the keenest proponents of fiberglass body cars here in the UK. Next up, looking slightly dishevelled, is this Turner sports car of the late 1950s. Has it gone on to be restored? This was photographed quite a few years ago now in someone's driveway. Continuing with classic fiberglass, we've got a 1960s Lotus Elan fixed head coupe here. All these cars were seen here in the UK, but obviously there were different fiberglass body cars around the world. Let me know what cars are popular in your particular country. Next up, we've got a Daimler SP250, registration ESK 579. This one dates to 1960. Down to the NEC, and we've got a gathering of Bond bugs here, the Bond 700 ES. Early 1970s, these particular cars, fiberglass bodied of course. Another Reliant here, this is a Reliant Fox Custom. This particular example, deregistration, dates to about 1986. Next up we have the first of several Ginettas to feature in this particular collection. This is an H registration Ginetta G32 from about 1990. That's an evening car meet. We spotted this Rickman. This is a Rickman Ranger kit car of the probably 1980s or early 1990s, I would guess. One of the better looking fiberglass cars, I think. Here we've got a 1966 Scimitar GT, the SE4 Coupe. Great looking cars these, I think. Back to Reliant for a moment, and here we've got a Reliant Supervan 3, little three-wheeler delivery van. This one in the livery of Royal Mail, fiberglass bodied of course, and steel chassis underneath. Very nice indeed. We've got a J registration here, Alpine A110. Beautiful little car, that very popular in rallying back in the day, left-hand drive. Some of these were Spanish built, this one might be one of them actually. Reliant again, and this is the Scimitar GTC, the cabriolet or convertible version of that particular car. This one dates to 1981 or early 1982. There's that Reliant Fox in the background again. Interesting little bit of 70s wedge here. We've got a yellow Clan Crusader. Something bigger now, and fiberglass went into the bodywork of this particular vehicle from 1965. This is a Morris LD based ambulance, part aluminium, part fiberglass. Head on view now of a Bond Coupe or Coupe XUM 461J. That's a GT4S version. Sport Turtle number now, we've got a Lotus Esprit S4. There's a Marcos alongside. I think we'll get a better look at that Marcos a little bit later in this collection of fiberglass cars. NPV 764P, that's a Reliant Kitten, four-wheeled Reliant. Very similar to the Robin in many respects in the design, but obviously four-wheeled rather than three. Sport Turtle number here, this is a Unipower GT, mini-based special if you like, a little racing car. Over to the Llangollen Motor Museum, we've got a van version of the Reliant Robin here. This one dates to late 73 or early 1974. Here we've got a Jensen CV8, bodied mainly in fiberglass. The doors were aluminium skinned, but the rest of it is fiberglass, very heavy duty fiberglass as well. This one's from 1967. GAE 66D, is it 1966? What do you call it? Gilburn, of course, Gilburn GT. Down to the NEC Classic Car Show in 2021, we've got this 1973 Reliant Rebel van. There'll be an estate car version of this a little later. And to a classic car gathering at the former Woodford Airfield, we've got H716TEP. This is a TVR S3C, registered in September of 1990. 3-litre V6 engine under that bonnet. Here's a real rarity now, a left-hand drive Sabre Sonnet. Small fiberglass sports car of the late 50s, early 1960s. So an evening classic car meet now. We've got a rear 3/4 view of a Coupe GT. This H-Reg car dates to 1969 or early 1970. LYJ456P, this impressive machine is a Spartan Starcraft camper. Is this genuinely an ex-McLaren vehicle, I wonder? This popped up at a classic car show a few years ago, but I haven't seen it since. Nice Marcos here, quite a late example, K registration, Rover V8 powered. A lovely early TVR here from the 1960s. I think this is probably a Griffith, but if I'm incorrect, please let me know in the comments. Of course, fiberglass was very popular with kit car manufacturers back in the day and still is today. This is a Rickman Rancher camper. Here we have a Noble. This is a Noble M12 fiberglass-bodied sports car. Back down to the NEC Classic Car Show, the National Exhibition Centre. We've got a Frisky Sport here. A little four-wheeled version of the Frisky. Very smart indeed, fiberglass body. Also fiberglass is YFC 150X. This is a 1980 Renault Alpine A310. This was at the Cholmondeley Castle Classic Car Show quite a few years back now. There's that Marcos that we saw earlier. This is a convertible version. They also did the Coupe. If you recognise any of these cars, or if you own one of these cars, please pop a note in the comments and tell us a bit more about it, please. Next up, a Falcon Caribbean, first of two photos of this little 50s built special, and usually built on Ford running gear, as is this example. 1848 TJ, a Ford Falcon Caribbean, 1172cc powered. There's a rear view of the same car. On Bellamy wheels, these were 15-inch bolt-on wheels, same fitting as the Ford Pop. Continuing with classic fiberglass, we've got a GE registration to 1980s TVR 350i with a Rover-based V8 engine. Next up, DUX 292T. We've got a Chevy Corvette, this time it's the C3 series. These were built from 68 all the way through to 1982. Back down to the NEC, and we've got another Scimitar GTC. Ford V6 powered, of course. This one dates to about 1980. Note the spare wheel there in the front, wedged between the bonnet and the front of the car. Two peels now at Lakeland Motor Museum. We've got 7038 VU, that's a Manchester registered Peel P50 from 1964, and a Peel Trident alongside it. Back to Gilburns again, and Cholmondeley Castle, NBO 498F, that's a 1968 Gilburn Genie. These were built from 66 to 69 with a 2.5 or 3 litre V6 Ford Essex engine. Very smart little Lotus Elan here, soft top version this time. We've had the fixed head and now the drop top. Another Bond here, UNP5F. This particular example is a Bond Coupe 2 litre, a Vitesse-based car. The GT4S, of course, was based on the Triumph Herald and its 4-cylinder running gear, and this had a 6-cylinder Vitesse engine. Another Scimitar, G-Reg example. This is a Middlebridge Scimitar from about 1988 onwards. Middlebridge acquired the rights to the Scimitar GT and the GTC and produced quite a few more. And next up, the first of 2 GTMs. These were a mini-based kit car with a fiberglass body and the engine in the back. Q registration, home-built car. That's followed by a rear 3/4 view of an early 1970s Cox GTM. A very similar car, but this is one of the originals. Vent in the roof, as sponsored by Cars and Cars Conversions magazine back in the 1970s. Another classic Reliant now. We've got a mid-1980s, 1985 Reliant Rialto here. That was on the Reliant Owners Club stand at the 2021 NEC show. This, I think, was at the Pageant of Power a few years ago. This is a race car based on the Lotus Europa, much modified. Carrying on with this classic fiberglass, we've got N900 TVR. That's a TVR Griffith of the 1990s, about 1995 to be precise, with a grey Chimera alongside it. Back to the NEC, and we've got the Gilburn Owners Club stand and CPH 15H. That's a 1970 Ginetta G15, a tidy little car indeed. Interesting one here. This was at Malvern back in about 2005 or 2006. It's a Bond Coupe 2 litre estate. The only one of these I've ever seen. The Triumph 2000 wheel trims. 3 wheels on this little wagon. This is an Invacar from 1976. The old invalid carriage. These used to be seen buzzing around the UK, but they haven't been out and about for many years now. I think they were outlawed quite a while back now. They're very handsome. I do like these. This is a Reliant Sabre 6, usually powered by the 6-cylinder Ford Zephyr straight 6 engine under the bonnet. GVO 682K. This is a Gilburn. This is the estate car version of the Gilburn Invader, which in itself was based on the slightly earlier Genie, which we've already seen here. SAZ 3982, that's a Clan Clover that had the Alpha Flat 4 engine and gearbox. These were only produced for a very short period of time before the company folded altogether. Back to NEC, 7832PJ is a 1962 Elva Courier Mark III. This with the fastback GT bodywork as opposed to an open top car. Another Scimitar at the Cape Thorne Classic Car Show this time, L-Reg car from 1972-73, that's the SE5 with Wolf Race Alley wheels. Another Reliant, this is a more modern interpretation of the Reliant Robin, a little 3-wheeler, fiberglass body of course. Over to Cholmondeley Castle again, ALG 430J, that's an example of the C3 Corvette. I do like this, DKX 820, this is a little Ashley bodied car, Ashley 750, there was this particular body, and this one is built on an Austin 7 chassis, registered in March of 1937, so presumably that's a Ruby chassis under there. Another Bond here from 1965, this particular example, a GT4S, Herald 4-cylinder engine. The doors you can see were from the Herald, slightly different door glasses. Another Lotus, this time the Lotus Elan Plus 2, very smart it is too. Another Marcos here, PWO 899F. This is 1968 Marcos 1600 GT. If you've got a favourite fiberglass car, please let me know in the comments. I'll be interested to know what you think about these particular machines. Next up, we've got a Bond 875 van. This was at the Aston Park Steam Rally back in 2007. Corvette time again. This time we've got a C2 series Stingray. My favourite Gilburn on the show this year at the NEC HTL 1T. This is a Ginetta G10. Fantastic car powered by a 4.7 litre V8 engine, which must make it quite exciting. Over to Llandudno Showground in 2007, we've got another Reliant Rebel, this time the estate car version. Looks like it's been modified to carry ladders on the roof. R36 TOK, that's a TVR Chimera. Here's a handsome old machine. Let's have a look. It's a Jensen 541R, again at Cape Thorne Hall this year. Beautiful car, two-tone paint scheme. Down to Malvern 2006, and we've got 679 NBJ. That's a scooter car. That one was registered in September of 1962. Down to the Goodwood Revival, and we've got a race-prepared Corvette here. It's a C2 Stingray. And here we've got an Ashley 1172. This body was usually fitted to a Ford Pop. This one appears to be on something else, WF199. This one is registered as 1960. Another Scimitar, this time the SE6 W-Reg car from 1980. These were a bit fatter than the SE5A that came before. Same event, we've got a Lotus Europa, a race-prepared Lotus Europa here, again fiberglass-bodied of course. A side view back at Malvern. This is a side view of the Frisky Family 3, three-wheel version of the Frisky, and there's that scooter car you can just see parked alongside it. Mini-based kit car is next. This is the Tichy. Very oddball thing from the 1970s. One of Lotus's finest. Here we've got an Esprit Turbo. This is an S1 from about 1980 or 81. The sad remains spotted in a local scrapyard quite a few years ago of a TVR Sabre. The sort of longer wheelbase fixed head version of the TVR of the 1990s. Gives you an idea of the construction there. The Reliant Supervan 3 here, this in the livery of Van Gogh. I think this was a Welsh children's TV series several years ago. Little Barclays T60 here, RSY 316, a little three-wheeler, fiberglass body of course. That was at the Tatton Park Classic Car Show in the mid-2000s. Back to Malvern and a rear three-quarter view of a 1965 Bondi Coupe. Looks like very original paintwork there. Another Frisky. This was at the NEC, another Frisky Sport. And 472 LKX, this is an oddball, this is the Gordon GT prototype. The production cars were the Gordon Keeble of course, but this was badged as the Gordon GT when it was first announced. This, originally it was believed to be a Falcon Caribbean, but this is actually a Nickery Champion. Most of these were based on Ford Pop chassis and running gear, but this is on a Herald chassis, this particular example. And over to Alton Park, and we've got a rear three-quarter view of a Lotus XL. This was at the 2021 Gold Cup, I believe. E-Reg car, what, 1987. Also at Alton Park, but a few years before, we've got an RS200 entering the scrutineering bay. This was Ford's rally car for the 1980s. Fiberglass-bodied, panels by Reliant. We're a three-quarter view of a Corvette now at Tatton Park, one of the classic car shows held there. This is a 1999 car with a 5.7 litre V8, the C5 series Vette. Classic wedge at the 2021 NEC Classic Car Show. This is a Renault Alpine GT with the usual PRV V6 engine mounted in the back. Back to Capesthorne, a Capesthorne Hall Classic Car Show. We've got an M100 series Lotus sedan. These were built from 1989 through to 95. Front wheel drive, Isuzu engine and gearbox, 1600cc double overhead cam engine. And at the Gaydon Mini celebrations a couple of years ago, we got JYM 2K. This is a fiberglass bodied car, the Stimson Safari 6. Intriguing machine, 6-wheel. DYF 5J was at the Practical Classics Restoration Show 2 or 3 years ago. A neat little car, it's a Marcos GT, registered in September of 1970. Still a few fiberglass body cars to go. Next up, a Fairthorpe Electron Miner. This one dates to 1960. Here we've got JFW 7T. This is a 1970s TVR 3000M. Looking around online, this was previously red with a black stripe down the side, but now it's in a sort of gunmetal blue-grey metallic. Also at the NEC we've got FHM251D. That's a Mini Marcos Mark 1. This car dates to 1966, was recently restored. Another Reliant kitten here. This is a W-Reg car from 1980. To the Ginetta Club stand again, we've got a new 767, that's a racy Ginetta G12. And at Gaydon again, the British Motor Museum and the Mini celebrations back in 2019, we've got another Mini Marcos here, that's a mini powered car. There's an oddball machine, JLR 270D, that's a Winchester Taxi, a Series 3 version from 1966, fiberglass bodied, makes it somewhat unusual. The rear three-quarter view of another Reliant Sabre 6, but like I say, these usually have the Ford Zephyr 6-cylinder engine, sometimes with Raymond May tuning parts. Very handsome, A40 backlight there. The head-on view, Alton Park of UCH 830, that is a September 1960 registered Lotus Elite. And that very smart black example rounds out this collection of fiberglass bodied cars seen here in the UK. If you've got any comments about fiberglass cars, the video or the channel in general, please pop a note in the comments below this particular video. Check out the rest of the videos that are on here, and more videos along very, very soon. Bye for now.